Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews, and welcome back to some more requested reviews. Now, today's requested review is going to be by Ayden Varvera. He wanted me to review the 2000s Dead trilogy. Now, I already covered Land of the Dead. Big fan of that one. A lot of fun watching that one again, and I have a lot of fun with that movie. I do enjoy that movie. That movie is kind of underrated nowadays. I would even say this movie probably has a bigger cult following than Land of the Dead does. I love Land of the Dead. I think it's a fun movie. Is it flawless? No. Does it have problems? Yes, but I think it's a really fun, really solid zombie flick. Now, of course, Ayden Varvera requested these reviews. Great friend of mine, awesome supporter. Thank you so much for the request, and thank you so much for the support. I'll be leaving a link in the description below to his channel. And, of course, reviewing Land of the Dead, we're going to be getting into the next movie and the Dead trilogy from the 2000s. We're beginning to Diary of the Dead, which came out in 2007, gets a 5.6 on IMDb, and was written and directed by George Romero. And Diary of the Dead, I gave it another chance. And I'll be honest with you guys, this one's really not for me. And I mean, I'm not really the kind of guy to just hate any found footage movie. I just don't think found footage and zombies really mix well. I mean, obviously there's the big ones that I think are really good. Like, I like Wreck a lot. I really enjoy Quarantine. But I don't know if you would even really consider those zombie movies. Like, those are more infection and stuff like that. It's like virus type movies, but they're the closest things that come to these actual zombies. And there's also a thing called the Zombie Diaries, which I haven't seen Zombie Diaries in so long. I have the DVDs up there, I just haven't watched them in forever. But Zombie Diaries, it's kind of I haven't seen it in years, so I'll have to rewatch it again. It's the same thing with this movie. I'm not a really big fan of this one. I know this one has a lot of fans, and it has a huge following, and I remember back in the day, I did a review on this movie, and I said I wasn't a big fan of it, and I kind of got a lot of backlash for that. It has a pretty decent-sized following to it, and I respect that. I mean, I respect the movie. I respect, everything that George Romero was going for. I like the idea of the movie. I like the direction it was taking. Just for me, though, it's never really been one that I've watched too much. I'll say this. It's probably not as bad as Survival of the Dead. I just remember that movie being pretty bad. Personally, last time I seen it. But I haven't seen Survival of the Dead since it first came out, so I'll have to rewatch that again. But the story... You got a director making a horror film, low-budget horror film out in the middle of the woods, and him and his actors and cast and crew pretty much hear about this zombie apocalypse going on. And they decide to start documenting and filming stuff and uploading it to the internet to try and get the truth out there of what's going on and what's really happening. And they're going from place to place. They end up at a barn. They end up at a survival, safe house type area. And by the end of the movie, they end up being at a mansion where their friend is at. And, well, I wouldn't really say it. I guess you could say it's like a mansion, like a really, really, really nice house. But it's just really, to me, a movie that I rewatched again, and it was hard to get through. It's never really been a movie that I got into. It's just a really slow for me. Not much happens in this movie, and I don't know. I don't think it's really just this movie. I just don't think zombie movie I just don't know if zombies really work in found footage. I don't know, because I wasn't really the biggest fan of Zombie Diaries. The only thing that I can really think of that I absolutely loved that was found footage was zombies, and I don't really want to count Quarantine and Wreck because they're not really zombies. They're more possessed or infected people. It's like 28 Days Later. I don't know. They're close to zombies. I guess you could say it's a substitute for zombies, or I don't know. I have this 4-pack of this DVD 4-pack that says The Crazies is a zombie movie, so I guess that stuff kind of counts. But I don't know. However you want to put that. The only other movie that I really think of that had zombies in it that was a found footage movie was a segment in VHS 2 where it was a story about this bicyclist out in the woods, and he has the camera hooked up to his helmet, and zombies come out and they bite him and he turns to a zombie. And I thought it was really cool because it was like a zombie's POV. And I like the way that was done. But that's like the only time that I've seen a zombie found footage movie that I really enjoyed. But Zombie Diaries and this one, I can't say I absolutely hate it. Like, I know there are people that absolutely hate this movie. Just like there's a lot of people that absolutely love this movie. There's people that absolutely hate this movie. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just, to me, a movie that it's kind of hard to get through. Not a big fan of it. I could get on here and lie and give you guys a lie and say, yeah, I love this movie so much. There are things in it I do like, obviously. That's why I don't hate the movie all the way. I'll just say it's not really for me. It's not a cup of tea. It's not really a found footage movie to me that has a lot going on in it. And that's its main problem, too, is that there's really not much in this movie. Especially when you compare it to, like, Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. And people say, what about the budget? I'm like, look at Dawn of the Dead. That movie didn't even have $1 million to work with. And look at what was all in that movie. But I feel like this movie, that's the biggest problem, is that there's just not a lot going on in this movie. It's them driving along, doing vlogs, and some of the ideas I thought were a little iffy, because it's like, okay, these characters are more concerned about shooting internet videos and uploading them onto the internet rather than just trying to turn the camera off and figure out where to go to be safe and like trying to figure out where to go next. And I mean, I get it. 2007, this is when the internet was starting to really take off. I mean, the internet was obviously there before, but this is when it became like YouTube came out and all these different websites were becoming bigger and bigger, and social media started to become more of a thing in like 2007. So I understand why it was taken this direction. I do respect that, and I do like the idea. I just don't think it really fits. I don't know. It doesn't mesh well. Them trying to make these internet videos and the director making a movie out of this event. And I'm like, you're trying to edit. Like, they edit, like they say, oh, we edit these videos and we add in music. And it's like the camera is like super HD, which I get it's a little nitpick, but they literally have a camera. It looks like a cinematic camera. Like, it literally doesn't look like a handheld camera at all. There are certain scenes where you're wondering if it's even found footage anymore, because there will be certain parts of the movie. I don't know if this movie is fully found footage or not, because there are parts where you're wondering who's holding the camera. Like, there are certain points where I couldn't tell if it was found footage or if it was recorded just as a normal film. But as far as positives go, there are some good makeup effects in this movie. There are some decent gore scenes. Like, of course, the electric paddles to the head, which is a very infamous scene, because the zombie's head just pretty much fries and explodes. Granted, most of it's CGI, but I like the idea. I do like the barn sequence, if I can say it. I like the barn sequence. I think that scene is very well shot and well done and well edited. There are certain scenes that I do love. Like, they're driving along, they see these zombies hanging by nooses. Like, they're hanging there, and they come to life and start moving midair. Or the barn scene, the opening of the movie where they're making this cheesy horror film. The ending where you have one zombie taking out the entire crew like it's a slasher movie. Different. I like that. I like how it's not just like every other zombie movie where it's hordes of zombies in every single scene. I like that it's more of spread out. You know, you only get to see a few zombies here and there. And there are like hordes of zombies, but it's not every single scene. And I like how the end of the movie doesn't end like every other zombie movie where the zombies break in, they just eat people and they turn to pieces. This one, it's more about one zombie killing people off, one by one. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. There are some decent scenes with the characters where I could tell, like, George Romero was doing the best he could. Like, he was trying his hardest to really create an atmosphere and create dialogue and scenes to these characters I thought were really good attempts at fleshing them out and really good attempts at giving them details and not making them one-dimensional. I don't know if it was just with the budget of this movie or if it was rushed. I don't know. Maybe it's just not my kind of movie. But then again, I'm pretty lenient on found footage movies because I do like the first Paranormal Activity. I really enjoy Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. I think it's different, unique, and I like it. I think it's well done. I don't think it's anything spectacular, but I think it's a fun little horror film. Not a big fan of Paranormal Activity 2, 3, and 4. I know there's a Ghost Dimension one. It just doesn't look good to me. Big fan of Wreck. Big fan of Quarantine. Trying to think. VHS, I remember thinking it was okay. VHS 2 was pretty good. It's probably my favorite one of that series. So there are plenty of found footage movies. It's not that it's just a found footage movie, because I love As Above, So Below. I love Tunnel. I seen one a long time ago I remember enjoying called Atrocious. I remember enjoying that one. It had some decent stuff in it. The Poughkeepsie tapes I haven't seen, but I really want to. But the point is, I've seen found footage movies that I've enjoyed before. I don't know. It was just this one. The characters, they really didn't make the smartest decisions, and they didn't really seem very likable. And there are certain ideas that I thought really didn't work for the story, like how they make pit stops all the time and they're trying to go back to these other places, and it's like they're focused on making this movie and uploading these videos and doing all this stuff, and somehow the internet still is around. You figure if it was the apocalypse there'd be no internet because everything was shut down, but the internet still is around apparently. But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad because I know there's a lot of fans of this movie, and I know it has a big following, and I do see good things in it. I would just say overall, it's a very meh movie for me. I'm not a big fan of it. Good gore here and there, but a lot of CGI, a lot of bad CGI that really doesn't hold up. The characters I thought were, just by their decisions alone and how they would make certain calls, I thought they just weren't very likable characters. They weren't very smart characters. The lead character seems like really an unlikable character because he's more concerned about making a movie than trying to get the hell out of here. You know, getting the hell out of Dodge. He's more concerned about making his movie. And I get it, there's a scene later on in the movie where he confesses that he was wrong and he's sorry for doing all these things, but it felt very Blair Witchy. It's happened in other movies too, where there's a confession. Like, that's very Blair Witchy. But yeah, I would say some decent looking zombies. There are certain scenes I thought were very well done and well shot. George Romero, his direction was on point. He did the best he could. I thought he did a great job directing this movie. The acting, kind of average. Not bad, not great. I just think what it is a lot of problems with the pacing, the CGI, the characters, the way that certain parts of the story goes. I don't know. Diary of the Dead for me, personally, I'm going to give it probably a 4 or a 5, being generous. Very meh movie for me. Very lukewarm movie. I'm not really that into it, but I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on some of the comments. So definitely let me know your guys' thoughts on some of the comments below. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Ayden, thanks so much for the request. I'm going to give it a 4 or a 5. If you like the movie, let me know in the comments below. If you don't, let me know. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good night. The Explorer 4 is out. Peace.